the new climber, some of the things that are just inherently a pain in the ass to climbers is they drop their pitch as you go up because of the tree diameter changing. So anybody that hunts with a climber knows this is what we're doing here. Anybody that doesn't know, this is what the stuff that you'll have to deal with. And how I've managed that over the years was to basically, if I approached a tree like this, I can't figure this out and figure that out. So I'll take this stand and I'll set it on chest height. Then I'll look at the tree and I'll give it a pitch here. And then I just take it and shove it down, whatever it ends up doing down there it's going to do, because that's where it's got to be. The seat, I've changed the design on this now where you can, we've always done it before, you have to open up the seat going up because of the taper. You're not going to hit it in one. You're going to start like this and you're going to end up like this. So you have to readjust that. If you ever get in a position that you don't have this pitched right and it starts going down, do yourself a favor and just climb down, readjust, and after a while hunting with a climber, you'll be able to pull up the tree and get it pretty much right. This bar I'm leaving on here for sit and climb. You can use this without it. There's a foam seat pad that's going to be available. It's coming with it. So you can have this attached right in here and it flips out of the way. This flips back. It sits down here and this will give you your biggest, longest, most comfortable seat if you're after that in a rut. I would run this micro seat. I'm 2.5 hours in, plenty of comfort and not dealing with the little extra weight or a little extra cumbersomeness to it. So we got our hinges open. I'm going to bring this down just to here. This pivots, get this back. And you're going to actually just have to manage getting in here and stepping on this angle of a tree. Straps come with it. They should handle anybody's height. You notice, if you see what I did here, is I tied a knot at my particular distance I want. So when I go to set this up, I just pull it back until the cam hits that knot and I'm ready to go. I'm not second guessing and taking it out or whatever. You can see already how this is losing its pitch, and the stand will do that quickly. So basically on the sit and climb, if this is a hand climber, I would have this just higher up and you're basically putting your elbows on that pad and you're going to climb just like a normal hand climber. Sit and climb, you're going to get in here and you're going to either go old school here, disengage, step, or you can go, if you got bigger boots, in the center and step, and so on and so forth. This tree's starting to pitch toward me, which is not something you want. I would swing around and get on this side of it. What I was telling you about before, comfort seat for me would be about short legs, knee high. Get your straps pulled up. And actually I like this to pitch probably down here. So you could open this, pull it out a lug, tighten it up and get that to sit at a little bit of an angle down so it's not cutting your circulation off. Now you got your sit and climb bar. This is a short platform, but if you look now, if this was our old 29-inch platform, it'd be way out there, you'd have all that extra weight, and you'd have a seat that you'd have to be out here. You'd be standing way out where you don't want. You don't want to be standing out, you want to be standing back in. With this one here, you can simply just take the straps, pull them forward, and actually sit. You can use this as an arm bar. I told you about before, you can literally keep this up and shoot over it with a bow. Guys that are skittish to height really like these bars around. They feel more comfortable up there. And you always want to have climbing from the bottom up, which again, we were all talking about not having it here. I got my safety belt in the car. You stay tethered constantly as you climb. It takes a little bit more time to move it up, climb up, move it up, and then what you want is you want your tether tight in your seated position, and you will never get hurt or fall out of a climber if you stay connected. If you don't, these are inherently more dangerous models than hang-ons, and people have a tendency not to know how to climb them right, or a bar to a friend and they don't know it, and then they get all kinds of problems. So, and a big problem would be taking this 30 feet up in the air and all of a sudden your platform where it's supposed to be is like this. Then they start rolling belts and doing things to that. I changed some designs and some distance that it can't happen as much on this now because it's different angles. The old one, we're not going to offer that big extra long belt for you to get on a 24-inch wide tree. It's a dangerous situation to be in. So here you're going to be able to go 7 to 18 inches in diameter, which is plenty. Anything bigger than that, you're going to have to leave it as a tree that you can't hunt out of. If the pad was on here, you could still climb with it, flip it up, and then slide this on, and then you drop it down after you get to this position here. You literally can just drop it down, and then same thing with here. You get on there, and that seat will give you 2 more inches. We talked about a tree that's angling like that. If you get on a tree that's angling like that, that's going to buy you more real estate on your platform. You know, I get up there about that there, and I might have 3 extra inches of room. My body's going to be back further, okay? You see all the holes on the front of this model? There's going to be traction on here. There's going to be, those are for your bow holders, and I have an extension design, thin, 1/8 inch, that gives you another 2.5, 3 inches of platform. It'd be like a footrest. Nothing really to hunt on, but if you're sitting and you want your toes hanging over, that's available too. So bow hunters that don't like the bar, years ago I used to, with our old sit and climb, I just get that out of the way, and then you got a completely open front that you don't have to worry about anything, you know, in front of you. Now, if that strap was on there tight and everything's locked in good and tight, you should be able to shoot just about on the back side of the tree, and then you can stand up and actually shoot on your opposite side. So, coming down again, step over this. And you younger guys, if you were like me back in the day, you can go up a tree with a hand climber like nothing. Literally 360 a tree on the way up, down. It's a really, once you get used to it, and if you got somewhat of coordination, I know there's guys that are not so coordinated, probably stay off of this type of stand. It's got some little, so now what I did here is they used to be buckles that snap together, separate parts, rattle around. I literally, you keep this tied on there. You got the same as our button system. So this is just like going over your button on a stick or a stand. And then when you grab this, instead of having to go off both sides, you can literally just hit the buttons, pick it up. And I think I mentioned before about this. This is angling down a little bit. I'll take one climb down and I'll redo it. But it's just a lot easier to, if you were on here and this was a pine and you were a bigger guy and sitting in here for an hour, 2 hours, these teeth might sink in to where they're really almost grabbing too good. So what you do is, before you get to just go climbing down, just get on there, get your wiggler loose a little bit, so then you can just put it there and you got a new bite, and then you're not going to be fighting that first initial disengagement. I'd rather have a set of teeth that bite good than don't on some trees. So again, start down a little bit. If you want to go old school, this is what we used to do. Bite. But you literally could do this in 100-degree weather and not take a lot of time and not break up a sweat. So normally this stand here, you probably could get from having on your back when you go with it. Again, if you're manipulating straps and things of that nature, I used to be able to take a hand climber in the woods on my back, approach a tree, hook up my bow, and literally be up there in a seated position in 2.5 minutes and be pulling my bow up. Take your time with it. If even it took you 5 minutes, it's just a pretty quick type of deal. But again, I'll go back to, unless there's 80% timber that I can get on a climber, I wouldn't even think of hunting with it, because you're going to leave a lot of spots, you know, that you can't hunt then. So some guys will pick out trees early in funnels, or if you're a rut hunter, and they'll trim trees so they can just dive in when it gets red hot with a climber and get in there. That's what I'm going to use this for a lot this year in some areas that we can hunt. Is I'm going to be able to want to go there instead of going in, setting up, coming back in the morning. I'll know where I want to go, and I'll just take this thing in there, and right in the dark I'll just get up and get set in those spots and be able to hunt with them. So once we get on to another thing, I'm going to take this thing down, I'll put it on a smaller tree where there's no taper at the bottom, and I'll leave it so you can just sit in it to feel the comfort of the seat. That's been the question all along. No, we don't have the comfort of a Summit. We don't have the size of the Summit and the bulk and all that. This is the run and gun model stand, but you get the pitch right and this angle right of the seat. You got some adjustment in your back here. There should be no reason you couldn't sit for 2 hours straight without even getting up out of this stand. And I'm a big guy that likes to sit too, so. Any questions?
What kind of weight limit you got with that?
Right now we have 250. We're going to do the final static blow. I like to wait till I get the traction, everything in there. And then people always have that question on our products. hang-ons, our hang-ons are so over designed to the competition, it's unbelievable. They're using a 2-time static. At the minimums, we're using 3, 3.5, sometimes 5-time factor. But it has to do with the design and the stand. A saddle stand, a regular static load of a double is not good because there's all kinds of side loads and there's different pressures that people put on them, setting them. Climbers is another one. You can static load with the stand in the perfect spot and blow the doors off the numbers, but you're not going to use it like that. You're going to go up too far, you're going to be angled over, and you know what happens when you get this, like leverage. And there's a lot of numbers that come up, and I call that the human factor. And you don't know that until your product gets out there and guys start using it, and then something rears its head. So we ease into it at 250, it's all looking good. We do some more extensive testing to failure, and you might see this thing bump up to 275. But what I will do is, this is like comparable power to our .575. Down the road, we will have a 1.0 version of this where it's a bigger frame, out further from a tree, more platform space. It's not going to weigh 11.5 pounds. It might be 13. It'll still be lighter than the competition, but it's going to be a more comfortable stand for a bigger guy. I'm saying on this one here, it's not even your height or your size, it's your waist size. If you got a 36-inch waist or smaller, this stand should be perfect. You start getting into 40 or so, it just might be a little tight for you, and that's personal preference too. So
Is that that seat itself, is it that adjustable, the straps on it?
we had it so it's adjustable in the back but not in the front. So this is your adjustability, and this is going to be when you want to adjust your pitch. You have the back so your bottom can drop into a little pocket somewhat, so if you want to go deeper in there or deeper, but it's not a real long type of seat. So on a bigger version, we'd probably make this adjustable too, and you literally could get down in that like the old school sit and climbs. But you're going to need some framework that's out here, wider, and now we're talking bigger and bulkier stands. So this will be our first version for a micro climber. Taking these things down, basically you're pulling your, very easy to cams. I got them marked so you can put them back into the same location. You're not thinking about where you want the ends to be. Take your hinges down, Then you can set that off to the side. Stand two, very, very easy with the, now the cams are on the inside here. This is wider in the bottom, so it's not an issue, as much an issue as it was on the top. You get those cams on the outside where they used to be, and you get on a big tree, and you literally get the spot you can't even get in there to open that belt to readjust it up there. So I changed that, tested it. You might think that this is biting. This is not for biting. This is for our cams. This stand bite is on the teeth. That's all the belts do for us, is hold our stands in the up position. And that's how you should want them. Biting up here and not here is a real bad, that's a Baker type scenario, and you end up just disengaging at some point and have a problem. So pull that down, loosen up your hinges. I don't think, like I said, I mentioned it before, there'll be some companies copying us, but I don't think you're getting anybody that's going to get anywhere near as sleek as this, or they don't have the experience in building climbers. They're going to be not right, the angles won't be right, there'll be issues with them. This will be the most compact two-piece you'll probably see on the market. So again, you got your two little grommets here. This cam's new and it's got a spot to encase this bolt. This one doesn't have it. You get that on there, and you're basically gonna loosen up your knob here, half turn it, snug it up, and you will not have any rattling or disengaging or losing it, which to me that was another one of the biggest pain in the ass of the original when I designed it. If you knew what you were doing and you strapped it down, it'd probably stay for the long haul, but by the time you got in, went up a couple mountains or whatever, it's starting to loosen up. You got to take it apart. So there's a bunch of little patented designs in here like that we have that are pending, and that's why it took us a little long to get this to the market, because we wanted to have that time to do it. Now you already got your straps in here, so you might as well utilize those to strap down some of the other stuff. If you had clothes you wanted to go on, you could do it. It's set up for backpacks. All of our backpacks, there's a little hook up here. So you can literally hook it on there, strap it. Kick your little stand out there and you can set her there, put your pack on here, strap it down, and you're off and running. I got these all strapped up with guys that don't like their stuff hanging from a tree. I usually pull everything up tight when I'm in a climber, so it's not dangling in the wind or you're going there. So anybody wants to try this on, you can just come by and throw it on your back and check it out. So. And when I say light, this thing is like, if I had just a small fanny pack here, just the essentials, it's like, it's lighter than the packs I got now with my sticks, hang-ons, and all my gear. So, streamline. And again, take this off. 11.5 pounds without a sit and climb belt. Probably just over 12 with it. Any questions? Man, I must be thorough, eh?
You've done it once or twice, right?
Yeah, done it a few thousand times over the years.